Hey everybody, I'm Alex at Motoroso.com, and in this video we're going to be taking a close-up look at the VR Tuned Piggyback tuning module for the third generation F-150 Raptor with the 3.5 liter Ecoboost. Now historically, getting more power and torque out of a modern engine, especially forced induction, the key to that has been ECU tuning. And in no doubt that is the way to get the maximum performance gains. But as of late, in the most recent years, manufacturers like Ford have been making it increasingly difficult to crack that ECU and do proper ECU tuning, and it'll instantly void any powertrain warranty that you've got. And a lot of people really aren't prepared to do that, especially if they just want a little bit of bump and they're not planning on pushing massive turbos or special fuels or any of that stuff. And so for that reason, the popularity of piggyback tuners has been rising quite dramatically, like this VR tuned piggyback we have here. And the reason for that is because they sit on top of the ECU. They don't actually imprint on the ECU or make any changes whatsoever to the engine control. And again, because they don't imprint on the ECU, the diagnostics tools aren't going to show that there was any kind of custom mapping on there, and that's going to help protect your warranty, which most people care a lot about. So it's a fairly simple device in the way that it works, and it takes only 10 minutes to install. We're going to show you how to do that step by step, very straightforward, but it's also incredibly potent. I mean, the guys over at VR Tuned put some serious work into getting this right, and you're going to be able to access these power gains over 7 different levels of control. So on level 0, the truck's going to run just like stock. But up on level 7 on 93 octane gas, they're claiming a 60 horsepower increase and 93 foot-pounds of torque gain, and that is a big number. So after we install this on our Raptor, we're going to be taking it over to our local speed shop, and we're going to run it on the dyno. We're actually going to test and verify the actual gains that we see on this Raptor. But here's a caveat. We're not expecting to get to those maximum gains numbers. We're in California. California pump gas kind of stinks. We're also only going to be running on 91 octane. And so what we want to verify is how good is it in the way most people would use it, what kind of gains they're going to see. And if we can even get into the neighborhood of an additional 60 horsepower and 93 foot-pounds of torque, we will be extremely impressed for something that costs under $1,000 and only takes 10 minutes to install. Now, making changes to the tuning levels can be done 2 ways, and it's easy both ways. One is on the actual unit itself. There's plus and minus buttons, but of course that is going to be mounted under the hood. So we highly recommend the easier way, which is go with the Bluetooth connected version of this tuner, and that'll connect to an app on your iPhone or your Android device and allow you to quickly change between the different modes. Their app's pretty cool too. It gives you 3 different pre-programmed levels that you put the level of tune behind. You've got an eco mode, sport mode, and a race mode. And what we're going to do is set eco mode at level 0, which is basically going to be stock. We're going to set sport mode at level 3 for a little bit of performance gain. And then on race mode, we're going to set it at level 7 so we can maximize the power output coming out of that thing. Simply open the app, touch the button, and you switch between them. You don't have to stop. You don't have to turn off the vehicle. No ECU flashing. It's all on the fly and extremely easy to use. Now, as far as durability, the unit itself is made from very high density plastic, and it's weather protected to make sure it can withstand some exposure to elements, although you don't want to submerge this thing. That's not going to go too well. And then of course their harness is also made from OEM grade level connectors, and it's got heat shielding to protect it from the heat that can build up in that engine bay. And it's got this defeat module that you can simply take out the unit and plug it right in there, and it's as if the harness is not even in there at all. Now, as usual, we sell this on our website. I'll put a link to the Bluetooth version right here. Now I'll take you over to Motoroso.com. And if you find this video helpful at all, then please do support what we do by shopping with us. It's the only way we're able to make this whole thing keep going, and we are having fun doing it, and we hope you find it helpful. On our website, you can also reach us on live chat, or you can call us toll-free at 833-MOTOROSO. We love helping our customers with their bills. All right, so now we're going to quickly show you how to install it. Then we're going to get this Raptor over to the dyno and see what it does.
Before starting the installation, take a photo of the serial number on the main box at the harness connector. You'll need this number to connect your Bluetooth app later. To mount the box, VR Tuned supplies zip ties. However, we prefer using Velcro. Using some rubbing alcohol, clean the surface of the fuse box cover here and wipe down the back of the VR Tuned box so we can apply each side of the Velcro. Then press it into place on top of the fuse box cover. Before disconnecting and plugging in any of the harness, it's a good idea to disconnect the negative battery terminal. Using a long extension and a 10mm socket, remove the retaining nuts on the intake manifold cover and remove the cover. Now start by connecting the main harness to the box and pressing in the purple locking tab to secure the harness. Next, route the ends of the harness under the other wiring towards the intake manifold. There's no exact way to do this, just keep it away from anything hot, sharp, or rotating and zip tie along the way to make it look clean. At the back of the engine bay, locate this connector. Route the part of the harness labeled A to that connector. Slide back the white locking tab, then depress the tab and disconnect the plug. Now plug the A harness in line with this connector, making sure to secure both locking tabs and then zip tying to keep it in place. Next, you'll route the second part of the harness labeled B towards the front of the engine bay as discreetly as possible and locate this connector just behind the coolant overflow tank. Same as before, slide back the white locking tab and plug the new connectors in line, being sure to lock the tabs and zip tie to keep it safely in place. Zip tie any remaining slap to keep things looking clean and secure. Then replace your engine cover and reconnect the negative battery terminal. You'll need to download and install the Tuning Pro app on your iPhone or Android device. Begin by clicking the car profile and then Add Product and Add New Profile. The app will prompt you to enter the serial number which you took a photo of earlier before beginning the install. Simply add that number and the app will verify and register the new device. If this doesn't work on the first try, give it another shot or two and it should kick in. From the device screen, click the fine-tuning option, and this is where you can set your modes for Eco, Sport, and Race. We're setting Eco at 1, Sport at 3, and Race at 7. From the app screen, you can also choose a time duration for the delayed start, which allows your engine a moment to come up to temperature before pushing additional boost. We set this at 2 minutes. You can also use the power button from the screen to power off the device. Now it's all installed and ready to go. Enjoy it. Now let's take it over to the dyno and see how it does. As we mentioned earlier, we had to do this test with the 91 pump gas that we can get here in California, so we didn't really expect it to make as much power as claimed due to the poor quality of California pump gas and that the claim numbers are on 93 octane fuel in a state that has much better fuel. Now, in addition to the poor fuel quality, it was also almost 90 degrees and humid on this sunny San Diego day, and that robs power for sure. We did 2 runs in stock mode and 3 runs in level 7. The 2 stock runs produced horsepower numbers of slightly over 350 horsepower and about 455 foot-pounds of torque. Then the 3 runs in mode 7 produced torque of nearly 510 with horsepower brushing up against 365. So the verdict under these conditions with this crummy gas and hot and humid weather is that the horsepower numbers only jumped about 15 horsepower, but the torque numbers jumped a solid 55. The good news is there that the torque changes are what you will really feel in the seat of your pants, and we think it's reasonable to assume that under cooler conditions with better fuel, this tuner is very likely to meet the claimed torque gains and maybe even exceed them with supporting mods like an intercooler. But it's tough to say if it can meet the power claims unless we could redo this test in another state with better fuel and weather. It is worth noting though that the power and torque both come into play earlier in the power band, and this makes the VR Tune definitely feel more noticeable in daily driving. Another surprise bit of information that we got from our customer about a week after he had this tuner installed is that he noticed his average MPG rose about 5% and he's kept the unit on the highest setting. Now with gas prices these days, that was definitely a happy side effect we didn't expect in addition to the extra scoot.
And if you're ready to buy this VR Tuned Piggyback tuning module, we'll put a link to that right here and links to both Bluetooth and non-Bluetooth versions in the description of the video. And if you found this video helpful, please do shop with us. It's the only way that we're going to be able to keep making these videos. Now, if you'd like to check out some cool lighting for your 3rd generation Raptor, check out this Baja Designs Fog Pocket Kit right here. And make sure you subscribe to the channel for our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.